student, I welcome you again to this yet another good unit. We are still continuing with the Bible knowledge in Standard 6. So in Standard 6, we have been looking at a lot of things. You can remember conflicts. We have been looking at how they crossed the Red Sea, the miracles in the desert. There, we also looked at all those things. But today, we are yet having another good unit whereby we are looking at the entering of the promised land. Entering the promised land. So this one, it is a very good one whereby we're going to look at the Hebrews now. They have been in the desert all along. All this time they have been in the desert. But now, we'll be looking at them now entering into the promised land. Remember, God had promised them while they were in Egypt that He is going to give them the land. He is going to give them the land just as He promised it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. So we see to it that now we are going to look at the entering of the promised land. Now, we are going to look at to begin by looking at the crossing of the Jordan River. Crossing of the Jordan River. So when we read the book of Joshua chapter 3, verse 14 to verse 19, and Joshua chapter 5, verse 13 to verse 15, there we see the story of how they crossed the river Jordan. Joshua chapter 3 verse 14 to 17, Joshua chapter 5 verse 13 to verse 15. These ones, they are the chapters or the passages that are telling us how the Hebrews crossed the Jordan River. So it's a good part. So get your Bible, read those verses. There are a few verses, and see what happened. But then, before we proceed, let us now have a look at this small clip that also illustrates how the Israelites crossed the Jordan River. So let us watch this one.
This is Joshua.
Hello.
Joshua was the leader of the Israelites, who God would use to take his people into the promised land.
Yeah, let's do it.
Joshua readied his people to cross the Jordan River, which was the only thing dividing the Israelites from the land that God had promised to them.
All right. We're here. Okay.
They camped beside the river for 3 days, waiting, just as the Lord had commanded them. At this time of year, the Jordan River was flooded and flowing with so much water that it was impossible to cross on foot.
And then the Lord said, "Let there be light." Hey, priest.
Yes?
Come on.
God told Joshua to tell the people that the priests would carry the Ark of the Covenant and lead the people through the water. He told the priests to step into the rushing waters.
Wait, huh?
And when they would do this, the waters would stop flowing.
Alright.
And as soon as the priests did this, the water of the Jordan River did stop flowing.
Yeah.
And the priests stood with the Ark of the Covenant on dry ground as the Israelites crossed to the other side.
All right.
God told Joshua to send 12 men from the 12 tribes of Israel
Go get it.
to take 12 stones from the place that the priests were standing. When all this had been finished as God commanded, Joshua called the priests from the Jordan.
We're good. Come on.
As their feet left the Jordan River, the waters came back into place, just as they had been.
Wow. Yeah.
They brought their stones to their camp and set them as a memorial, so future generations might remember the story of how God brought his people through the Jordan River on dry ground.
I guess we have seen how it happened there. how they crossed the Jordan River Jordan. Now let's see what happened. Let's summarize it all. The Israelites were still in the desert on their way to Canaan. So we are saying that they were still on the way. They were still going to the promised land. They are not still yet there. So they are still on the way to Canaan, that is the promised land. So God continued assisting them in their daily needs. So we see to it, manna did not stop. The quails, we saw those quails, the birds that were given to them. They did not stop. They were falling each and every day, each and every day. So God provided for their needs. So when they reached the river Jordan, God gave them instructions before crossing it. So here what we are seeing is that God gave them the instructions. They are on the other side of the river Jordan. The river Jordan marked like a boundary to say, right, after crossing the river Jordan, then all the land that side, it is the promised land, the land of Canaan. So now, when they approached the river Jordan, then God gave them the instructions before crossing it. Instructions are very, very important. Instructions, very important. Whether at home, at school, everywhere. Instructions are very important because they guide you on how best to use or how best to be wherever you are. For example, during a test, they will always tell you, all right, answer all questions maybe in the spaces provided, or else answer the questions on a separate paper, which means that you are going to follow those instructions. Or answer on question number 1 and question number 2. That is the instruction. All right. So instructions are very, very important. So God had promised them to give them the promised land. Now, before entering it, God gave them the instructions. So what did he tell them? Number 1, they should consecrate themselves. So the first instruction was that they should consecrate themselves. What is to consecrate? To dedicate, to give yourself, to separate yourself. So they should consecrate themselves. That is, they should make themselves separate. They should make themselves ready. So they should prepare themselves. So they should consecrate themselves. That is to say, they should be prepared to serve God. They should be special for God. They should dedicate themselves to God. So that is it, to consecrate. And also the priests carrying the ark of the covenant should go before the people. So another instruction is, after separating yourself, purifying yourself, then the priests who are carrying the ark of the covenant, remember the ark of the covenant, that box that had 2 tablets inside, stone tablets inside it. What was on that? What were on that stone tablets? I guess you remember the commandments of God. So they were very special. So the priests who were carrying that ark, they should go first towards the river Jordan. So people should follow the ark but keep some distance from it. So as they will be crossing, first the priests carrying that ark of the covenant, they should go first. Then those ones, all the people should follow the ark. Now they should keep a distance, not moving closer to the ark. No, they should keep a distance. The ark is there, then they should follow the ark. They should follow, keep a distance. At least they should separate. There should be a distance between them and the ark. So they should not just move closer. the priest carrying the ark should stand in the middle of the river. So the priest carrying the ark should stand in the middle of the river. Now, they were also told that when the priest enters the river Jordan, the water is going to separate, just as it did, remember, at the Red Sea. So the priest should stand there, then the water is going to separate. So when these instructions were followed, the water was divided and the Israelites crossed on the dry ground. So we see to it here that they followed the instructions. When they followed the instructions, then the water were divided. The water was divided. That river Jordan, it was divided. Then the people crossed on the dry ground, just as it was at the Red Sea. So after crossing the river, Joshua saw a man with a sword near Jericho. So soon after they crossed on that dry ground, then they have now entered the promised land. Immediately, Joshua saw a man in an armor, like a soldier. So he had a sword in his hand. So this man was the angel of God who was sent to tell Joshua on how to conquer the city of Jericho. So after crossing, now the challenge comes in to say, all right, there are people there. They need to defeat them. They need to kill them. God had instructed them to say all that land in that side of the river Jordan is theirs. Therefore, this angel of God was sent to tell Joshua, now get ready to conquer. Get ready to defeat the city of Jericho. So now we see to it that this man was the angel of the Lord who had a sword, telling Joshua to say, now you have to fight the people or the city of Jericho. So the angel told Joshua to remove shoes from his feet because the place he was standing was holy. So just as it was at the burning bush, sometime back, Moses saw the burning bush when he was called. And when he saw that one, he was coming near. And near that, then he was told, Moses, take off your shoes because you are standing at the holy place. So here again, we see that this angel of God also told Joshua to say, remove your shoes because you are standing at the holy place. So we have seen there how they crossed the river Jordan. But now, when we read in chapter 6, verse 21 through verse 27, get the Good News Bible, read this passage, you will see what happens there. So, chapter 6, verse 1 through verse 27, read it carefully. Don't rush. You are not rushing anywhere. So, pause first and read. Pause this video and read this chapter, Joshua chapter 6, verse 1 through 27, and see the story there. So the story that is there, it is about the conquest of Jericho. The conquest of Jericho. They have crossed the Jordan River. Joshua has met that man in an armor with a sword, who told him to remove his shoes because he's standing on the holy place. Now they are there. Now that man instructed Joshua to conquer the city of Jericho. But now, here is the conquest of the city of Jericho. But before we proceed, let us also again watch this small clip and see how Jericho was conquered by the Israelites or the Hebrews.
Joshua, Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead. Therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land I am giving them. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live, for I will be with you, as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you.
But Joshua, even with all our soldiers, how will we defeat their army protected by the walls around Jericho?
In 3 days, we cross the Jordan River and take Jericho.
Make way for the king! The entire city is in a panic, and all they're doing is marching around? Yes, and look, now they're just returning to their camp. It must be some kind of trick. No, they've just seen the futility of their plan, and our walls have kept us safe. What is happening? Today they circled the city 7 times, but still they are afraid to attack. It's pathetic. They'll be leaving soon. Shout! For the Lord has given you the city!
I guess we have watched that one. We have enjoyed that one. We have seen how the power of God was manifested in or on the Israelites as they conquered the city of Jericho. Now let us proceed. The angel of the Lord who appeared to Joshua advised him on how to capture Jericho. So the angel told Joshua how to capture the city of Jericho. Following God's instructions, the Israelites marched around the city of Jericho with soldiers circling it once for 6 days. So we see to it, we have seen in that video as well, to say they followed the instructions by just going around the city of Jericho once a day for 6 days, and on day number 7, what happened? So 7 priests carried the ram's horn trumpets before the ark. So the the ark was with them, going round. As they were going round, the ark was with them. And 7 priests, they had the horns, the ram's horns. They were sounding those, boom, the trumpets, boom, the trumpets, like that. So they carried that. So on day number 7, on the 7th day, they went round the city 7 times with priests blowing the horns. So for 6 days they were just going round once a day, going round once a day, round once a day. Day number 7, they had to go round 7 times, and the priests were blowing the trumpets. They were blowing those trumpets, like that. So when the people heard the sound of the trumpets in a long blast, they gave a strong shout of joy. So on that 7th day, day number 7, what happened was that when the priest had blown that trumpets for quite long, the people, all the people now of Israel, they shouted with joy. Remember, it is a war. This, what we are talking about, is a war plan that was told by God through that angel to say, do this and you are going to conquer. There was nothing like physical fighting here. They just go round once a day for 6 days. Day number 7, they go round 7 times, and the priests, they blow the trumpets, and the people, they shout with joy. Then walls of the city of Jericho fell. So all the walls of city of Jericho, they crumbled down because of that noise of the trumpet and the noise of shouting with joy by the Israelites. That one made the walls of Jericho, the city of Jericho, to fall down. They developed the cracks and they were falling down, just like that. So this showed God's continued support for the Israelites. So here what we say is that God really supported the Israelites because there was nothing like physical fighting now. Physical fighting, only obeying the instructions of God, doing those instructions. Then it happened that the walls of Jericho, they fell down. Now, here we have come to the end of our today's unit, and today we are looking at the crossing of the Jordan River. They crossed on the dry land by following the instructions. After they crossed, the angel of God appeared, gave instructions to Joshua on how they should defeat Jericho. We have seen how Jericho was defeated, so it has been a wonderful lesson indeed. But here with me is an exercise. Number 1, what did God give the Hebrews before they crossed the river Jordan to enter the promised land? Number 2, what were they told? Give any 3 points. How did they cross the river Jordan? Number 4, what happened to Joshua as soon after crossing the river Jordan? Number 5, explain what happened during the fall of Jericho. So on question number 5, you are going to say, narrate the story, say the story of the fall of Jericho. So that is question number 5. So this exercise is good. Before you go to the next unit, remember, you do this unit before, you do this exercise before you go to the next exercise or next unit. So until the next time, thank you so much.